Welcome to not quite the Angels Positivity and Love Show, but the panel, the series, the Mind, Body, Spirit panel, in which we have guests from the show who come on and talk about wonderful topics. So today we've got two New Zealanders, one from the North Island, one from the South Island, and someone from Tacoma, Washington, who's very special. I'm going to have to do some intros here because they've got quite the backgrounds. We've got show hosts. All of them are show hosts. One has a book coming out in the fall, Super Manifestors. One already has an award-winning book out. Let's start with the person at the top for me. That's going to be Carmelle Riley. Her website, manifestorsunite.com. She helps people move past limiting beliefs and emotional blocks. Her book coming up is Super Manifestor. Expect that out, I believe, in November now. She's all about intention, positivity, big energy, or Maui, if I said it correctly. Her YouTube site is Manifestors Unite. She also does hypnosis and a lot of other stuff. She's had me as a guest on her show. I want to thank her for being here. Welcome to the show, Carmelle.
Kia ora, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. And I absolutely love being in any space with you, whether it's visibly aired and shared with others, or whether it's just one of our little plays with, I'm bringing them up my feathers, which have started coming in greater abundance since I've met you in the Angels. And yeah, thank you so much for me. I absolutely love and adore you. I think you're a wonderful person. So I love being in this space with you.
Thank you again. And also she does cosmology. She lives just to the west of Auckland, and that's on the northern part of the Northern Island. Now, Paula Vail, Tacoma, Washington. She's a show host. KMET, Southern California Market in the Millions, but it's also her show. 400 plus episodes has now gone on TV. She's an award-winning, and I mean multi-awards, for her book, Ask Me Why I Am So Happy. And I've got that book right here. We'll be showing Carmelle's book in November on a little short take that we'll do then. Here's Paula Vail's book. And she's more than that, Reiki master and a lot of other techniques. She also has been helping people for a super long time. Super gentle vibe, lots of love. She's had an incredible life story, which I think everybody here today has had ups and downs, but it's the downs and the ups that teach us to go steady and stay the course and to have a big foundation to help others. Paula is no exception. I'm going to mention her connection to Hawaii, just north of Lahaina by a few miles. And so she's been paying attention to the news, and we'd like to send some well wishes to Hawaii right now. I'd like to mention just the Maui Food Bank. What a fantastic organization. Everybody needs to eat. You can't go wrong supplying them with dollars. Send them a donation if you can. If not, just supportive vibes will work to the people of Hawaii. Paula, welcome to the Mind, Body, Spirit panel number 3. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Michael. I'm honored to be here and to be with all of you. Thank you.
And last but not least, Michelle Carpenter, also in New Zealand, Southern Island, Northern Tip, Nelson, host of Keeping It Real. She's just had me on as a guest. She happens to be in our hot seat today. Her show as a guest on Angels, Positivity, and Love launched today. So thank you for being on both the show and also being on the panel. It's got to be a lot right now. All of you are juggling full calendars, full events, and everything else. But for Michelle Carpenter, it's michellecarpenter.co.nz. And she's been a hatha yoga teacher, still is, helps people on their journey and with their blocks as well. Also, I'd like to just mention, well, she's got a bunch of different techniques. Check out her website. She helps connect you to your passed over relatives and so on. Michelle, welcome to the panel.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It's really great to be here and with such beautiful, beautiful energies. I think my biggest issue today is, like I said when I joined, is my cheeks are going to be so sore from smiling at everybody.
And that's okay.
In Hawaii, I've got my beautiful beads that I got in Hawaii in 2019, and I've just got them next to me and lit a candle. So may we all just send Hawaii love.
And I'll light some sage and blow some to everybody, and we'll send some vibes, hopefully, to where they need to go. Also for Paula Vail, her website, wellnessinspired.com. Just to mention, I know a lot of people like to sneak a peek early, and why wait to the end and look at the footnotes of the video. I always burn myself when I light sage. Okay, here's a little bit of sage smoke for the audience watching. They can catch it wherever they are in the world. And why go linear? 1 + 1 = 11 when it can equal 111. Ask for flowers or ocean smell as well. And if everyone, Carmelle, are you smelling sage or extra?
I got, yeah, with a touch of cedar. Don't ask me why.
Yay. And Paula, how are you doing for the sage?
I'm smelling the sage and I'm smelling ocean waves from Maui.
Oh, nice. Mother
Mm.
Teresa just said in some answers here, Maui is our heart. There might have been an extra couple of words. I forget everything. But okay, Michelle, a little bit of sage smoke your way. And what are you catching?
I've got Pablo Santo as well that's coming in with the sage. Like the Amazon. I don't know why the Amazon.
Nice. And I'm getting sage plus burnt finger. Ouch. Okay, let's begin. Let's have, who would like to start? Volunteer to talk about the heart, one's life journey, and how it's really a discovery of what one already has here, but it can be the scariest place for us to go, or we can have some trepidation about using what we've got. Can I get a volunteer? New Zealand, Tacoma, Washington?
I will. I will. I just wanted to add just a little thing that I sometimes forget. I'm actually part Hawaiian. I have so many mixtures of different bloodlines, but we found our Hawaiian bloodline about 2.5 years ago, because my cousin is really interested in genealogy, so she traced it back. And there's some other islands as well, but I've never been there. And even though I've got that native not that I look like it, but I do have. So it's I think, and it's really a great place to start, because Hawaii is on the heart line or the heart chakra of the world. And I know we have a little opening down here in Aotearoa in the South Island, where we also have a home in Christchurch. There's a block of hills and some rocks, and there's another heart chakra there. And I think that when I think about the heart, it's actually mostly about remembering that it's more than just a pump, and it is the main line that connects all of us into this wet rock that's spinning so fast around in the cosmos with all those billions of stars and all that light. And I know I've gone really huge and big with that, but I think it's really hard for us as humans to remember that this thing is not just a physical beating object, but it's actually a huge point of connection. And just by being aware of our heart, we are connected into the heart of everything. So that was, and it's actually got to pay a mihi. So a mihi to you, Michelle, because you've surrounded us with hearts in your background. And Paula, you're massive. Is it a stone, or is it a gemstone, or is it actually
it's a crystal with some little crystals around it. Yeah.
Is it a moonstone, or is it
I believe it is.
Yeah, and it's a natural moonstone, not an opalite. Yeah. That's beautiful. So yeah, we're connected. We're connected, and we're sending it out. So wherever you are in the world, you're listening to this and getting it fourfold.
Michelle, how about the heart?
Gosh, it's the only place that I'm most certainly learning to exist from. And I say learning because it is a learning for me. It's most certainly been in my lifetime, this lifetime. I've come from so much chaos and so much just kind of feeling out of sorts and disassociated for such a long time of my life. And the more I've come to realize on these spiritual journeys that we're all on, and I was just saying to a group earlier on that, we've got so much pressure in walking these tightropes of being spiritual that we've kind of forgotten how to be human. And for me, that's where the heart is exactly where we need to reside in and exist. And the heart has so much joy. And I've used this example time and time again. Not one of us are sitting here right now and I'm going, Michael, your heart needs to beat, Carmelle, Paula. You know, our hearts are just beating in this beautiful coherence, and it's like so easy. And if we look at it like how it just gives our body everything that it actually needs, how awesome. And that's where, for me, it's like showing up in a heart space. And like I said, it's a learning, because I'm not always happy and delighted and love and light all the time. That's part of being the human too. But as my understanding of heart coherence is, it's just pure love, pure unconditional love, which is what I, you know, like even when I connected with all of you, you know, Michael, you are just such a delightful heart human, and it's just amazing to reconnect with you again, because it's so easy. And that for me is what the heart is about. The heart just gives blood to all our organs, and when it's easy like it is, that for me is the most simplest place to live in, because we're not living outside of ourselves, we're living inside of ourselves. And that's what I hope that we all walking towards in this lifetime. You know, like the devastation of Maui, it's amazing how everybody just comes together and prays. You know, nobody's got any egos, nobody's got any sort of outside existence of anything. It's like, how can we help these people? So it's quite interesting how these massive things that happen for us in humanity actually bring transition and change. And that for me is where we come from here, because there's nothing else that exists in these moments.
Beautiful, Michelle. And I should mention Michelle's background briefly is just South Africa originally, and now in New Zealand. And when you listen to the show, again, Angels, Positivity, and Love, out as of August 13th, episode 30, she is the guest. You can hear all about her story, or origin story, and what makes her such a fine healer, or we should just say helper for others to, again, find their own hearts and live through their heart. Paula Vail, talk to us about the life journey, discovering more love, allowing more love, showing love always.
Yes. And that I, believe stems from our heart. I've always felt the heart was my home base. And with life's journeys and challenges, we can have so much going on, and we can get out of that mind chatter, take a moment, reside in our heart, and let our heart speak to us. And that for me has been a big part of my life during different challenges. I would ask the angels, I'm opening my heart to what's going to be, what's going to come, or messages. And that can just open up so much, to take the time to just reside in the heart and let the heart speak and guide. And it can really, do so much in our path. And it can help us find a path we did not know we would even think of being on, or even, go in that direction. It's our heart, and is truly a big part of that path.
Thank you, Paula. And we're coming right back to you in just 1 second, Paula, to ask about allow, ask, and receive. And we'll do something easy, feathers. I know Carmelle in New Zealand's a huge fan of feathers and gemstones, and much more, cosmology, astrology, you name it. But back to Paula in a second. She's seen electronic feathers from angels, real feathers from angels. By electronic, I mean angel light. So yes, they're not there, but they're there. What will you allow for? But I wanted to mention with Paula, in her book, she details her life story. At one point, she was the manager of a restaurant. You'll see it behind her, Lorenzo's, I believe it's pronounced, but she became the owner. It was not easy, and that's what got her started in one sense with a family upbringing. All of you have had very specific life stories you've shared on the show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. And again, episode 6 for Carmelle Riley, go back and check that out. Episode 16 for Paula Vail, to keep the 6s going there. And then today, episode 30 for Michelle. Now, I've bought enough time for all of you. Allow, ask, and receive. For signs, it doesn't have to be feathers, but Paula, can you share with us how the feathers coming in the craziest of places, even if I remember correctly, landing on the edge of a glass in the kitchen and balancing there, how has that reassured you that you're on the right path to trust more, allow more?
Yes. Feathers, constantly I'm getting feathers. And I've been babysitting grandchildren this summer, and now my granddaughter is even, oh, I found a feather. Oh, you know, and we just, but it was after a session with Michael. It was just, I was just overwhelmed with so many feathers, but I was literally in my kitchen cutting an avocado, and here comes a white feather coming down and landing in my kitchen. I had to tell Michael about it. I was just blown away. Yeah, I am a big lover of feathers, and I just believe they are such beautiful messages from the angels for us.
And Carmelle, for you, feathers, and if I can pause for a second, I think in Hawaiian culture, if it isn't New Zealand, I think it's Hawaii. If a little kid brings a feather to an adult, it's a special moment to be celebrated and to be respected. If I've got that right, a time out in life from the busyness. Okay, Carmelle, feathers, signs, what will you allow for?
Well, it's really interesting that you brought that up because and particularly I'm interested in, Michelle, your practice of speaking with passed over loved ones, because actually that's how feathers come to me. They don't generally come with, they come to me because I know one of my friends is actually speaking to me. One of my loved ones is speaking to me. So I have a really dear friend who was a tribal elder, and he passed away in 2019 listening to Elvis and crying alone, which is kind of sad, but it's also kind of joyful as well, because he was a very spiritual man, but he was hard on himself physically. And very soon after his head passed, we had this big ceremony where someone lies in state for 3 days and we pay our respects. So then I started getting trails of white feathers, and I know when I am out of sync or when I'm not listening to him, I'll get a line of them, and there won't just be one, there'll be like 15. So that's one. And other friends come with different my dad comes in these tui quiffs. We have a lot of native birds actually in New Zealand, probably why there's so many feathers and they're floating down. Haven't had one in the kitchen, but that's something to work on, Paula. But yeah, Michelle, I would be really interested in your perspective about how we listen to the voices of others who have passed into the universal, and how that comes through, and how you help people with that, because for me that's what feathers that's how they talk to me.
Yeah, it's gosh, they show up in different ways, and one of the example that comes to mind was a woman that I connected with me just over a week ago. Her mother came through. It was actually her stepmother, but her mother that raised her. So she called her as a mother. I always say a mother figure. And sometimes the mother figure could be a grandmother or a grandmother's grandmother. And, they may not have known them, but they come through because they want to give guidance. And I said to her, she's showing me lilies. She wants to gift you like white lilies. You know those beautiful lilies that we get here in this country? I don't know if you get them in the States, but they smell beautiful. Like when they're open, they got such a beautiful, vibrant perfume smell. And this woman just looked at me and she went, and I still have self-doubt, even though I'm connecting with spirit. And I was like, oh my God, did I get this wrong? And she went, oh my God, Michelle, how do you know that? How do you know that? Like, those are my favorite flower. And so that's how the connection comes through. And when it comes to feathers, it is a definite sign where people would be walking. And so often I've had this absolute confirmation where people say, I wondered if it was them, because this just came floating down, like Paula's explaining her story, this feather just came floating down out of the blue, Michelle. Like, how did this happen? Or I was in the ocean and I walked and I just saw this feather amongst all these shells. And for me, it just gives us confirmation. It gives us confirmation in the knowing that we know we pass over to spirit. Yet at the same time, it's the physical, it's the human in us, the heart in us that misses them. So my mom comes to me. My mom knows I love butterflies, and we have monarch butterflies, which are beautiful, bright orange and black butterflies here in New Zealand. In South Africa, we had many different kinds of butterflies, but the monarch is the one that's the most profound, hey, Carmelle, that I know of. And without fail, and there's no lie in what I'm about to say, but without fail, Even in winter, every single day, I'll say, Mom, I haven't seen you today. And within 2 minutes, 2 hours, I'll see a monarch butterfly. They'll be maybe little, and I didn't even know that they actually exist in winter. I sort of assumed that butterflies only come out in summer. But without fail, I'll see one fly past my window. And I'm like, oh, there you are. It just gives us confirmation to know that we're not alone. And feathers do that a lot for humans. Feathers, coins, butterflies, caterpillars even, and a lot of times even flowers. Sometimes clients will be walking past somewhere or be traveling, and the next minute a flower that they know that their mother loved, or music is the other thing. Driving in a car, and the next minute, let's say you might be driving in an Elvis song, you might be just thinking about your uncle, and then an Elvis song would come along. You're like, oh. And then we question that. Oh, is that them? Is that not? And it is them. It's 100% them. And they kind of like to play tricks. That's the other thing that I love. They're kind of like, woo, let's see if they really believe. And we get the confirmations time and time again. But part of what I absolutely love is how it brings so much healing for us. Because, often our heads are the ones that kick in because I most certainly grew up in, as I described, a bit of chaos. And we weren't taught. My mother was a reborn Christian, and she still, before she passed over, thought I was speaking to the devil. But what's quite interesting is that when I remembered back to sort of before my mom became a reborn Christian, she was actually incredibly psychic. She used to say to me, I smell things, I see things. So that's how spirit come to us in many different ways, and I'm of the opinion and the belief that the more open we are to receiving different signs, the more we'll be shown the different signs. So I hope that answers your question, Carmelle.
It was a beautiful answer, Michelle. And that goes back to where you put your focus or how you spend your energy is where you put your focus or how you spend your energy. Can we address that you have complete ability within if you would just pay attention more from this place and be more conscious or aware of your flows? Who would like to tackle that one and get us, a lead out here? I can stall. I'll mention my feather story on a track. I found a white feather on a track. I used to go to the track all the time up in Austin, and it was my guardian angel giving me a big white feather. And then someone that's actually met angels with me, I'm doing repeats, speed workout. And so we're running side by side, and I almost fell off the track, fell down, stopped. I saw a white ball of light right there when we were in sync. And so I told her I saw the light, but I thought it was so bright and it was such a big circle that I thought I had to be Mary, not my guardian angel, Min, who's light waves of energy in water. So to delay a little and get some inspiration here, if you wish, catch floral scent, ocean. Think of 7 different possibilities here. This is an angel named Joy, who's the emotion joy, but anybody could catch a feather, electronic, or angel light coming down right now. You could get the smell of white lilies, Michelle, if you wish, or Carmelle. Or if anybody wants to close their eyes, you can get a little vision on your eyes, and then I'll have everybody just share what they got. Who would like to go first on that one? Did anyone, first of all, did you connect with Joy? Carmelle? Yes, good. Everybody did. Carmelle, what did you get just now?
I always get a little, it's really interesting because I feel the angels more than I see them. So I get this little stroking at about the middle of my back. And it's always a very visceral, I don't know why. It's just always incredibly, sometimes I get songs actually from Joy with you, Michael. They come through as a song, but I actually didn't get a song. I just got this lovely little stroking on my back, which is, I tend to feel my way through these things often.
Perfect. Paula, how about yourself?
I got the scent of a flower, and then what I saw and felt was, I am a flower in this garden of multiple flowers. So many of us are just beautiful flowers together in this beautiful garden. And I had the smell of all the flowers and all of your beauty.
And Michelle?
I always see multiple colors when I feel into joy, like all these rainbow colors, or like jelly beans. Like I just see this handful of jelly beans as a kid, with all the different colors, and I got the smell of citrus,
Ooh.
like oranges. Like I just want to bite into an orange right now.
Hmm.
So one of the three of you must be inspired from some of the conversation that we've had and wants to run with it in a certain direction. Who is that right now? We have a shy panel. We have two New Zealanders who are healers. We have Paula
Okay, I'll
Vail.
go. I'll
Thank
go.
you,
I'll go.
Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all shuffling in our seats. Let's go. Now we're at the starting blocks.
I'm actually not shy, but I just thought I'd been talking too much and we needed to hear from you.
Everyone's doing well. Michelle, it's all you. Paula, we're going to come to you next.
Okay.
The word I'm getting is clarity, like a lot of what I'm finding, and truth. Clarity and truth is very much the words that I'm sitting with and feeling into in the last few months, more than the last few years, just the last few months. And like, what is my clarity? What is my truth? And it's a real big learning for me, because the background that I've come from is, I always joke, and I don't know if I said this to you, Michael, but often my filter system doesn't work. Okay, like I just just say it like it is, and I'm like, okay, like I almost want to say to everybody, who was thinking that, because I picked up on it. But I also know it's part of the way my dad raised me, and he just used to say it like it is, and I've kind of had to reel it back in, think of like a fishing rod, and then I've had to reel it back in and go, okay, like just, Michelle, discernment, and just observe. But sometimes it just rabbles off my mouth, and as you can well hear, but it's like, what does truth mean? Because I think so many of us are seeking the truth in, and I don't want to use these times. I think a lot of us that are on these paths have been wanting to find our own truth, and what does it look like, and what does that come with clarity? Because we talk about heart, we talk about coming from a space of heart, but just an example that comes to mind, one thing that I've learned in being in the environment that I am, in the work that I do, with the teachers that I know, so many teachers have said, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody with what I'm about to say, because I'm just consciously aware of how I'm putting it across. But one thing is like, don't hug other people, don't hug strangers. I don't resonate with that. I'm like, well, what happens if you've got somebody that perhaps, let's say you walk in a supermarket, and there's this you walk out in the car park, and there's somebody that's really grieving, like really crying, maybe, who knows what the story is. I'm the kind of person that will walk up very gently and just say, hi, are you okay? And I'll put my hand on the person. Now, for me, I'm still learning the clarity of what I pick up on, what is mine and what is somebody else's. But I used to have the knee-jerk reaction of wanting to rescue. So just to give the example of the person in the car park before, I'd be like, okay, but that's the South African in me who's still working through fight, flight, fright, because I have PTSD, and I'm working through the PTSD since I've been living in New Zealand. So I'm very consciously aware, I think, at the best of times, of not running, knee-jerk reaction, and sitting with it and going, okay, clear. Okay, guys, my team, spirit team, guide me. I see somebody over there. Okay, and then I walk over gently and then put my hand on that person. But when you start getting somebody to talk about their truth and what's going on in their life, and I'm just using this as a complete possibility of what could happen in my world, I can't not hug people. And it could be because that I lacked hugs when I was young. I never got a lot of hugs when I was young, but the person that I just am here we go, because a lot of us want to feel safe, and that's part of the clarity and the truth that I'm searching through. Like, what is my truth in this spiritual realm, in this human realm of what we live in? Because there's so much information out there, and especially in the last 2.5 years, gosh, there is so much for people to listen to, which I think is amazing, because so many people are most certainly waking up to themselves. And I'll say to anybody that I'm walking with on their journey, guys, take what resonates, and what doesn't resonate, just park it. So even in the hugging thing, it's kind of like, what do we pick up on? What is somebody else's truth that they pick up on other people's energies? And they say that we've got to cleanse ourselves of those energies. But then I kind of feel like it's contradictory because, well, if we're all connected into the oneness of who we are, which is where we come from in source, and for those of us that are mothers, not once did we ever have to say to our babies growing inside of us, okay, baby, get toes, or now, oh God, we forgot the lungs. We just grew from this knowing. So I don't know if this is making any sense. I'm trying to be as clear as I can in my clarity.
Can I just add one little fun thing to your hugging?
Yes.
Because I'm quite a hugger as well. And it often gets me into trouble because I hug on the left deliberately. So most of the time I either knock heads with someone, it's very awkward, but it's actually deliberate, because if you hug and experiment, if you hug on the right side, you'll get the ego side. And in our culture, you used to bang someone down the head with a patu and they were gone. We have a lot of warfare, a lot of anger in our bloodlines. It's not that far away. It's like, a couple of 100 years. It's less socialized than other cultures. So that was a patu on the head, bang, you're gone. On the left, it means your heart is open. So just try it, because it can just really bring, you might want to, hugging is not, you have to kind of read it as to whether the other person really wants a hug. And some cultures, it's really not appropriate. But I'm with you, Michelle. I love to hug, but I love to do that kind of disruptive, because people go, why did you do that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, because I was just giving you a heart hug. I was just giving you some love, and then they go, oh, okay. The other to add on to that, because we also hongi with our nose in cultural situations, and because I am, as said, I'm a heart resonance practitioner, I lead from my heart and I don't worry. In fact, I like it if it creates an exchange which is under the phatic commune, how are you, all that kind of, rubbish. I like it if we actually get into the humanness of it, so I kind of stick with it even though it is uncomfortable. So we hongi nose to nose, or depending, you might come into the forehead. And for me, I always make sure that when I'm giving a hongi that I get the forehead, because that's an eye exchange, and we can hear below and at a different level. It has happened to me though, where, because sometimes people kiss, sometimes they'll hug, sometimes they'll peck on the nose, sometimes they'll, push forehead to forehead. It can be really uncomfortable, and often, like I've had instances where I've actually just full pashed someone on the mouth in a really inappropriate situation, because we just didn't know where to go to, and everyone ends up laughing, and I'm like, oh God, I'm doing it again. I'm being so inappropriate and not intending it. So yeah, it's where was I going with that? I was going with that I like this practice of lightening, and I hope I'm lightening as we go, and clearing. But try the heart hugs, and if you come down under, and Michelle, if you're on a marae and you end up hongiing somebody, hongi to the left or hongi as you like. I think that's what we sometimes forget in the earnestness of our desire to keep some equilibrium there, that essentially we're just kids. We're just playing. Sometimes we stuff it up royally. If you're like me, you stuff it up frequently. I'm frequently, inappropriate, not intending to be inappropriate, but because I want to bring light and I want to bring joy. And and sometimes that's mischievous, and so most of the time it just is silly.
And Paula.
Yeah. I myself always been a avid hugger, love hugging, but I've always felt there's two kinds of hugs that I give. There's the physical hugs, and there's the energy hugs. I love the fact of knowing that I can hug others, animals, the planet. I can hug someone with a compliment or kindness and a kind gesture, caring about what they're going through. I see all of this as a way of also hugging them energetically, surrounding them with your care and your kindness. And I've loved things like if you go in a crowded room and you have a big smile on your face, and how that can affect the room and change the tone in a room. And I believe in a way that's kind of like an energy hug that you're sharing, and the others do feel it. And I've always been fascinated with that. I think it's a beautiful gift that we can do and share.
Hugging mistakes have happened, and my opinion is go for it. You'll figure it out later if it's something you need to alter or be aware of, but set your intent, let angels do their jobs, let the other person's angel team and guides and ancestors do their job. I'll admit, I've been at bookstores looking at books, really wanting to get away from everything, and then I'll look over and I'll see a woman. I know there's like a doorbell ringing and you're supposed to help her, but I usually get 3 tries in public. So I did the un-American thing. I switched aisles. I went from like mystery or history to another section to avoid the opportunity to help somebody. I end up helping a lot of people, but in this moment, I'm being very practical. I'm like, I just want to look at books, and then they usually show up again. Sure enough, she showed up again. I don't think I changed twice, but sometimes I'm out in the parking lot and I still run into the person. And then how do you even broach the subject? They might need some help. I always show them their aura on their hands and then say what I do, because they always answer life is great when you ask how are things going, and then later they're like, well, I've got this situation. So with that one, she had just lost her son in the last year, ended up helping her, and she threw a hug on me before I knew what to do. And I didn't understand boundaries quite that well back then. So every time I get a hug, it would be the rest of the Samsonite luggage or wagon train coming with me. They feel great. That's great. But I didn't understand everything is a transaction technically. Don't get negative about it, but there are boundaries. If you can stay high, light, easy, and let angels take care of defining those boundaries, whether we're talking a living space, a workspace, just you driving. But her energy piggybacked with me to the home. And I always used to have my fire alarms go off at my house when the saturation level was too heavy. The house was saying, hey, you need to throw a window open and blow some sage and clear it out. And I'll mention my favorite flower vase, thanks to her son. He wasn't a bad guy. He went off to the light later with some help. But he chopped my glass flower vase in half, like a laser went through it, and some other stuff. So it was mischievous. And I found it and I was like, darn, that was a really nice, ginormous, thick glass flower vase that was down in a cabinet, no access to a Austin Powers laser, but it got lasered through by that figure, and then a little peeping in the house as well. But so long story short, you want to have your boundaries, you want to share love. I say go for it. Worst that happens is you learn a better way to do it next time around. Michelle, take us to the next level here. Angels, compassion, manifesting. What do we need to talk about? Spirituality, letting go of what we think we know to just experience more in life. What's the next topic?
Compassion. Let's go there. Something that I'm still learning, and I'll keep saying that because I don't have all my shit together. There's no doubt. I unraveled last week. I'm so glad this is happening today, because on Friday last week, I don't know, I've said to my friends who are going through menopause, like, I don't know if it's collective, like the collective and, the energy of Maui, if it's my menopause, if it's like, am I triggered? Is it inner child stuff? So I'm learning compassion towards myself and my journey. And it's something that, again, just coming from the chaos that I knew that was just so easy for me to live in, growing up in Zimbabwe, then fleeing and going to live in South Africa, just the background that I come from. Again, nothing wrong with, with the way that it happened, but my wake-up call was, and I'm going to throw the angels in here, was when my angels kept trying to wake me up to me, but I kept pushing it away. And they weren't the easiest journeys, in my opinion, to wake up. But it was like, okay, well, she's not listening. Okay, so let's just make the experience different, maybe a little bit bigger. And that was when my wake-up call happened at the age of 33. And I just thought to myself, wow, that beautiful word, in hindsight, if only I had woken up in my 20s. And what I love about going back to the word compassion is so many of us are learning about self-love, which is compassion. And yet I didn't know what that even meant at the age of 33. I had no idea. I had oodles of it to give to my little baby at the time, my daughter, but I had no idea how to give it to myself. So part of my journey and my learning has been, okay, Michelle, you give it to others so easily. Where are you in it? Because I still have a very critical mind or critical voice that can be switched on. And I'm learning to quieten that and give myself compassion in the sense of not only love, but going for a walk with my dog, going for a walk on the beach, just being in nature, you know, watering my plants. That for me is just giving compassion. There's such simple things like Paula was saying, smiling. That shifts the energy in the room, which is incredible. It's so true, you know, smiling at the barista that makes our morning coffee, and actually connecting with them. That's compassion. Connecting, saying, hi, thank you so much. You know, thank you for remembering that I, you know, have a flat white with oat milk. And even though they're seeing hundreds of customers a day. So for me, compassion comes up in so many ways. And at the same time, when there's compassion, there's angels. Boom, they're like there, instantaneous. And sometimes they're just that reminder of, hang on, like a little tap, a little nudge, like Carmelle was saying, like that feeling on your back, you know, knowing that they're there to support. And that for me is the connection that when I most certainly get into my head, I forget about being compassionate to myself, because that's been my biggest learning in life. And like I say, I'm still learning it, is what does it mean? What does it feel like? How do we unravel compassion? And it shows up in so many different ways. And a big part of my journey is I'm heading to Egypt in 2 months' time. And I don't know if Paula, yourself, or Carmelle and Michael, if you find it so easy to give to others in terms of time. And time is an exchange of energy. And I just am happy to give in many different ways. And I had this gentleman offer to pay for my journey, for my trip to Egypt. And I didn't know what to do with it. Didn't know what, I was like, I took a few breaths, and then compassion. Michelle, you talk about giving and receiving, that's energy. And it's like, okay, I had to take a few breaths and say, okay. So compassion for me comes in so many different ways, and I'm shown on a daily basis. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, soft word. It kind of feels like your t-shirt, Michael. Like, I just want to dive into your t-shirt. You've always got the best t-shirts. Or shirts. Not so a t-shirt, a shirt.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Paula in just 1 second, but I'm going to hold up an angel named Charlotte, who also has ties to ancient Egypt, might have brought compassion way back in the day to that society. But long story short, Michelle, do you have a quick reminder for us, like a mantra or a saying that's a wonderful saying to help bring us back to our hearts? What's one of your favorites to just slow us down and get us back into the moment, get us back into the heart before we go to Paula about compassion, love, life, awareness?
I got the way, the truth, and the light.
Nice. And Paula, to you, with the whole compassion concept, there's a trillion definitions of compassion. I feel like if we grabbed 20,000 people and they listened to 20,000 angels every day for 10 years or 20,000 years, we would have a unique definition every time for compassion. I will simply add compassion for all is life.
Yes.
Paula.
Yes. And Michelle made a great point mentioning compassion for myself. We can so easily share compassion for others and neglect ourselves. And it's important to have compassion for ourselves. And then there comes in that love and that caring and loving ourselves. And that right there can open up so much in our lives, not just in loving ourselves and caring for ourselves. It enables us to love and care better. And then comes into that gratitude for what we have to be grateful for. And biggie for me that, you know, I try to do, but it's something I've kind of neglected, but I'm working to do more. Have gratitude. Think of something I'm grateful for about myself. Because it's so easy in life to think, I wish I'd done this better. I wish I'd done that. But if we can focus on what we're grateful for outside and grateful for inside us, it can just totally change the energy and the aura around us and what manifests and what comes to us.
Carmelle.
Well, maybe it's just my listening with my inner ear, but I heard passion, not compassion. and, and I was like, what are you talking about? This is but it's very funny. And so I'm so left field. I'm always in another stratosphere and another dimension, but it is Venus retrograde, and Venus is passion, and we've got this anaretic degree of Pluto, 29th degree Capricorn, which is the full weight of societal programming and all those limits that we've accepted exist from the day dot, because 95% of what we tell ourselves is lies. Need a big breath there. So passion being Venus, beautiful Venus, the goddess of love, and we started with a heart, right? Okay, she is being slammed right now the 12th, 13th was the point of the darkness where Pluto slammed in. There was a square with Uranus, all this energy. So basically astrology is how much sunlight has been reflected at us down on Earth from our position on the Earth, and with our beliefs from our place on Papa Tua Nuku, which is Mother Earth in my language, one of my languages. But so this slamming occurs because the universe is handing us reminders to take the reins. And until we take the reins of passion and compassion, we are going to get a slam in the face. In my case, I always get slams in the face, or, I have open enemies in my chart. So somebody will punch me, or if not that, I will, land on somebody else inadvertently, or something will happen that life slams me. So, I feel these transitions with the call to silence, which very infrequently does not come. I have to force myself into silence. I have to slam something over my head. But this was happening for us all universally. So Paula, you probably have more wisdom and have had enough of the reins being, it's just something that comes with our life experience. You gain more wisdom, more peace, more stillness. But for some of us who are still fighting the battle, we have Venus retrograde. And what you're talking about, Michelle, you are not alone, okay? You are not alone. Everybody gets an iteration of Venus retrograde with that Pluto squaring opposition. Everybody is getting that in some realm of their life, because that is our reminder to allow what is true in our heart, our passion, our compassion for ourselves, to unleash that passion. And if you don't do it yourself, then the universe, our galaxy, our little place in the cosmos of life will do it for us. But yeah, you're not alone. We're not alone. And the key is transformation, to use the darkest of dark for the lightest of light.
Hey, Carmelle, you've jumped something here. The topic next will be letting go. And I'll just add my 2 seconds here. Letting go is letting go. Keep letting go. I'm borrowing from Angels. It's in my little Listening to Angels book. But the details don't matter so much. Just keep letting go. It's like allowing your path to unfold. Keep living. Keep your head up. Don't stare at your toes. And maybe don't stare at the sky the whole time. You might walk into a tree. But back to Carmelle in a second. I'm going to put up 3 angel photos to buy some time. Any chance you can talk to us about that amazing story you had about not holding on to anger? There was a huge vibration going on. You got on that plane. I think it was it Wellington, the airport, and the black-backed gull, and mentioned what happens when you hold on to the wrong things in life. Not that it's not a lesson as well, but here are 3 more angels. There's Heather, who makes hearts in her photographs. Even her name, Heather, is the word heart rearranged. Lucy, who's patience. All things in life need a little bit of Lucy and patience. And then Harmony's harmony, but of course she chose tranquility as her key word. Don't ask me why, but you get the idea. If everyone wants to just take get a hug, get some inspiration, or get a reminder on your own stories, while Carmelle, if she wishes to share that one, it was in episode 6. She described it quite well. I love this story. Carmelle, do you mind sharing it? Terrible story, but it's a reminder not to hold on to what you think you need to hold on to.
And it is my lifelong challenge, just with my placement of the stars. Well, my soul contract, what I've come here to do is cure bloodlines of violence and warfare. And my early childhood was very much warfare. And I had fire and brimstone through some of the religious teachings. My dad, who was a street kid at 12, and was very, really lacked a lot of love in his own personal family situation. But love was also, he was a loving being, but he was 12. He met my mum when she was 16 at a party, and they were forced into marriage. And so I came through that with a lot of shame and a lot of division, and they had a terrible breakup. And there was a lot of neglect and a lot of really seriously hard stuff in a family level that shouldn't happen to kids. And I held that for so long, despite my smiling exterior, which is also within me, but I carried that shame and division and conflict for many, many years into my own marriage. And I was married. I've been with my husband since I was 16 as well, repeating a similar pattern. And it wasn't until we had 3 children that anger really showed up, and it really shocked. It shocked me so much. It still shocks me, because I have this, I just feel this, it's like a red rage, and I still feel it from time to time. When I do feel it, I go and do sprints or something. But it expressed through me, through my husband, and through this warfare, and we still work with that pattern. Especially if we're in confined spaces. And one of those confined spaces was a plane, and we were having a separation, and it was nasty, and it was really bad. And he'd been promoted to a captain. It was the very first time that I'd flown with him, and I was so angry. You won't even believe. I was just like rocking around with this boiling, seething anger, which actually was powerlessness, and was actually a cue to, pull some of the stuff up and get rid of it, and to confront it, and to not pack those emotions which had been packed in for years. But anyway, I whipped out my phone just as we were about to take off, and we were leaving out of Wellington, and I just said, "Better be a good landing, Captain," with the immense wrath that I carried. And within, literally, I think it was about aisle 7, it was literally within 3 seconds, maybe 4, a blackback gull went through the left engine right next to me, and the entire cabin filled with smoke. And I'm not joking, the poor woman next to me was completely packed. I was actually laughing. I was actually full laughing, which was incredibly inappropriate. But
can I mention, sorry, Carmelle, you didn't know your husband was going to be the pilot that day on the plane. It was only after the announcement with Captain Riley.
I wouldn't have gone on.
So you were sitting in the seat. You hear the announcement of, like, buckle up, and we're going to have a wonderful flight. Let's take off.
Oh, I heard Captain Riley.
So
Captain Riley was flying, and I'm like, oh.
You typed him the note, and then as you got airborne just away from the airport, that thing goes into the engine, explosion, smoke. You're laughing hysterically because you can't believe the synchronicity of it all, and take it from there. You got back to the airport, obviously, safe.
On one engine, limping. He'd never had an emergency landing in his life. I'd never flown with him as a captain. I'd never, we limped. We literally limped. And it was this huge, big deal. When I got out of the plane, I was laughing, and people just thought it was like nuts. I said to this woman who was like quite terrified, "Honey, if your number's up, your number's up. It's definitely not up tonight." And she was just like, "What are you saying to me? Where's your compassion?" I had none. Oh. I actually had none. I thought it was, Anyway, it took me, that point, it actually took me to a place of extreme humility, because I just, in that instance, knew that I was being slapped hard on the face to wake up. And it was like, wake up. You cannot carry that around. Even just, it's okay for me to carry it around in my body, but the consequences for others, that's not cool. And so it did bring me to a place of humility, and to understand where the anger came from. And it wasn't just me, I was expressing it for bloodlines, but it made me realize that the consequences of our emotions with our pent-up thoughts. We have to be the God within, and that God within does not wreak havoc, does not pour intensity out. That God within transforms and goes still and silent and is humble. So yeah, it's not a good story in that it's an extreme version of anger, but it really brought me to a place of understanding the consequences of our energy. And yeah, it's made.
I know Michelle can relate to this because she shares a lot in the current episode 30. Make sure you check out Angels, Positivity, and Love. But I'm actually going to steer the conversation to Paula Vail right now. And I'm going to put up another angel to buy us all time, breathing space, get a hug from Claire, who's resilience. You've all met her. And if each of you, Michelle, could you get one thing from Claire, at least a hug, a beautiful smell, but maybe a reminder to us all? Whatever you'd like to share out loud.
I'm getting lavender and be within.
And then Carmelle, could you share something from Claire as we head to Paula to have Paula talk more about being in the heart, compassion, letting go? But Carmelle, what are you hearing from Claire?
I get this sense of an evening tide that rolls in and rolls out and takes away tension and brings in calm. That's what I heard.
Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. And Paula, if you wish, you can say something from Claire, but then I think you've got something to share here with us, and please do.
What I'm feeling from Claire is relax. Relax. Relax whenever you can. Breathe and relax. And I guess with the letting go, that's always really been a piece of me. Being a 2-pound baby that survived in the 50s, I always felt the angels were with me and I was meant to be here. And I'm going to be grateful and I'm going to allow. And I've had so many different experiences in my life where I believe the letting go is what has saved me or brought positive manifestation. For example, when my kids were young, I was coming home from working at the restaurant and I had my daughter in the front seat of the car. I had our exchange student in the back seat. And our house was down a really long, steep hill. I came over the hill and my brakes went out. I had no brakes. And it was pitch dark, no street lights. And I knew at the end of the hill was a house. If I stayed on the road, I would drive into their house. And no brakes, and we're going faster and faster. And where do I turn off the road? Where? I don't know where. It's pitch dark. And we're in a forest of tall trees. So I just said, angels, please be with us. And I drove into the dark. And my car literally went and stopped between 2 tall trees. And we walked home. And I have a passion for it's okay to let go. Have what you feel you need to do and what you can do. But sometimes letting go and say, I'm open to help. I'm open to assistance. I'm open to guidance. And it can just cause miracles.
Michelle.
Yeah, just to build on that, it's taking the pause. Breath. We taught so often to breathe, but we forget. And again, just with my own nervous system, I've had to find the space of just taking the pause, because it's so easily for me to go into that fight or flight response, and I call it the knee-jerk reaction. So I can have a similarity of your story, like a little bit of, like, my dad was in the Rhodesian War and there was a lot of alcohol involved in our upbringing, and that anger was so deeply embedded in me that I forgot to take the pause. It was so easy to just, again, that was where I had to learn discernment. What is mine? What isn't mine? What is coming out of my mouth? Do I feel good after the shame? Like you said, Carmelle, the shame. And it's taking that pause and just learning that it's okay. You know, I find that working with grief and trauma, so many people have been on this journey of got to do more, got to do more, got to do more, and then it's plant medicine, and then it's this, and then it's hypnotherapy, and then it's that, and that, and I was one of them. Like for years, my husband would say, "Geez, like, do you spiritual people ever just breathe?"
That's so
Okay.
funny.
And it actually just completely used to piss him off. Excuse my language, but he couldn't handle spiritual people because he's just like, you're always on. Like I'm doing acupuncture and then I'm doing this and I'm just like, I just want to clear these patterns, man. There's got to be more. So exactly what you're saying, Paula. It's just getting into that space of just letting go and knowing that when it's meant to happen, the time will show up. And an example that comes to mind, like ayahuasca, I wanted to do it for years and years and years in South Africa, and we've been in this country for 6.5 years now. And then the shaman showed up, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, but I just let it go. So, like with what Paul is saying, it's like letting go on every level. You know, getting out of the way and just being like, okay, just get into everyday life, get into life. And when I let go, she showed up magically, and it was beautiful. So that's a part of, I think, what the learning is for me, to just find the pause, find the space. And I believe animals do that for me. My animals do that, where I'm just in the moment with them, you know, whether I'm touching my cat or walking my dog and just leaving my phone. Just, it's been the biggest learning for me with having my own business, is just leaving my phone and not trying to be pleasing everybody, because then I just get like completely in that space, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to be what haven't I done? Let go. I'm going to take that one, Paula. Let go. I'm going to have Paula's soothing voice in the background. Let it go, Michelle. Paula says.
That is such a good point, though, that you bring up. Do spiritual people ever breathe? Michael, how's your breathing?
Whenever I can remember to. I mean, I've been breathing the whole time. Let's talk duality then. You're breathing the whole time, but you know, is it once a year just for the physician's exam that you take a deep breath because there's a stethoscope, or are you conscious breathing once a blue moon? I've got a random topic for you, but you're going to have to listen. The first one or second one who coughs up a topic. We have Joy, Charlotte, and Min, my guardian angel, professorial, light waves of energy and water. If somebody wants to listen, or all of you can listen for a topic, we'll queue up the topics. If somebody wants to put a hand up and says, I've got Charlotte giving me a topic, we'll have you go next. Min, Charlotte, and Joy, three angels. Breathe, 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 allow. At home, you can put your hand up to the photos, feel the energy through two screens, catch an ocean of floral scent, get a hug, or get an answer. Meanwhile, we have three panelists, two from New Zealand, all are show hosts. One's got an award-winning book already out, Ask Me Why I'm So Happy, Paula Vail. Another has a book coming out in November, Super Manifestors, if I've said it correctly, Super Manifestor, singular, at manifestorsunite.com. You can get the details, but it's Manifestors with an ORS. And Michelle Carpenter in New Zealand, Nelson, northern part of the Southern Island. She's a show host of Keeping It Real on YouTube. You can find her there, and many more things. She has out right now as a guest on episode 30 of Angels, Positivity, and Love. She has shared some serious detail about her experiences in life that parallel either the airplane story or Paula's story. So please hop over to that show and listen and check her out there. She's fantabulous. Okay, who got what from the angels and who wants to step forward? Paula Vail.
I got from Joy, be like the water and flow. Flow. Every moment becomes a new moment. Every moment becomes a past moment, and flow. And breathe, relax, and just enjoy that flow. Life is a river, and there's going to be rocks, there's going to be branches, but flow in that river and feel the warmth and the love. That's what I got.
Ooh, gorgeous. Okay, Carmelle, what'd you get?
I wanted to ask Paula a question. Why are you so happy?
Called the book that because I was always asked that. All my
Yeah.
years in the restaurant, and people, your life must be perfect. It was not perfect. I had many challenges, but
Mm.
I felt, am I going to be angry at the bad or grateful for the good? What, I'm going to be grateful. I'm happy and grateful to be alive, and that's going to, and I felt I have a server's heart. I loved, like if I had a grumpy customer, I didn't get upset. It was a challenge to put a smile on their face. And I love that. So I think gratitude is a big part of why I'm happy. It doesn't mean I don't have my moments. It doesn't mean I don't have sadness and challenges, but and it just, I'm going to make that choice as much as possible and try to focus on the gratitude. Yeah. I was bullied in school when I was a teenager. And one day I just said, you know what? Love me or don't.
Yeah.
And that kind of set me free. It's, I hear a song in the grocery store, I'm going to dance. I don't care. People think I'm a weirdo. And that's kind of how I've gone the rest of my life.
Chutzpah.
Yeah.
I love it. And gratitude, and also grace is in there, whether it's religious grace,
definitely.
unreligious grace, or whatever the other thing is. The point is letting go, being one with all, and following your heart, your bliss. With that, Michelle, talk to us about gratitude. Talk about grace. Talk about trusting more, trusting the flows in life, trusting the heart chords.
Gratitude is actually so easy and so simple. But for me, it is a state of grace. It's a state of just being in that absolute pause of feeling into everything. I'm a very feely person. Everything's got to come from a feeling with me. So even yesterday, I've got a 3-legged dog, and she's been showing me signs that she's ready to go, and I keep asking her. And yesterday I took her to her favorite space, which she hasn't been for quite a long time. She loves to swim. And it was very fascinating. I found this, I always ask if I pick up something from nature, I always just put it against my heart. And I muscle test it, I heart test it. And I just stand with my feet hip width apart, and I asked this rock, is it okay? And it was this beautiful, like almost like a pink fluorite with lots of little, it's just beautiful. And I stood and I asked, is it okay if I can take you home? And I rocked forward and I got a yes. And what was fascinating, when my dog came out the river, when she saw, because she's got a big knob on her, which was protecting her joint, but now it's really tender, and it keeps caving in. And she came out of the river and she lay down. And I just put the rock down, and I put my hands against my heart, and this brings me back to a state of grace, and back to my heart space of just saying, okay, is she ready to go? And I got a yes. And I'm trying hard to hold the tears back because I know it's coming. But that's such a simple moment of just being grateful to her for all the healing that she's given to me and to my clients over the years. And man alive, animals teach us so much wisdom. Like, she's taught me, her name, believe it or not, is called Star. And that's how we adopted her, with her name. My kids decided to keep her name. And the beauty of it all is the synchronicity of my husband's late mom called him Star Shine. So when we heard her name, he's like, yep, I think we got to get her. But she taught me, because I used to do one-on-ones a lot in my home where I used to live in Queenstown, which Carmelle will know. And she taught me about energy. She taught me how when somebody was on the bed, she would go to the bottom if they needed to be grounded, or she'd go to the middle of the bed, or she'd go to the top if there were too much going on in their head. And she would stretch, and she would yawn, and she would shake. And I just watched her wisdom. And I was like, wow, she's teaching me about energy. And coming back to a space of gratitude, it's just being so grateful for the small things, because I think so often we talked about what can we be grateful for in terms of physical stuff. And I just know that it's the smaller things in life that I most certainly look that I'm grateful for. It may be my husband went through the dark night of the soul last year, and just his mental thoughts and him coming back to smiling again. And it's interesting, Carmelle, because my husband and I separated last year, lived in the same home, but we separated. And just coming back to that space of what can we be grateful for in this moment? Smelling my sip of my coffee before I sip it in the morning is a moment of absolute gratitude, because it's the time that I'm giving to myself, and it's just for me, it's sensory. It's a feeling that I feel in every part of my body, where I'm just calm, because as you can well hear, I kind of I can go very out of my body very quickly, and thank you to Michael, because he brings me back. It just gets me.
I have another angel for everybody. Mac, don't call her Mackenzie. Plants, animals, and nature. So I have specific assignments. I hate to say it that way for each of you. But for Michelle, connect about your pooch star. Hear beautiful things, if you would, from Mac and Joy. But go ahead and you can meet, if you haven't already met, Star's guardian angel. Dogs, cats have guardian angels. So go ahead and connect. Keep that to yourself, but ground with it. Get lots of reassurance and love. For Paula, you know what to do with Mac. And Carmelle, if you don't mind me suggesting, the jungles outside your house there in northern New Zealand, on the northern island to the west of Auckland, if I've said everything correctly, because Michelle's on the southern island in the north part, Nelson. Now, I've stalled a lot between Paula and between Carmelle. Who wants to talk about what Mac's bringing you? She's very grounding, all about trees, plants, animals, nature. Carmelle, Paula, who's going first between the two of you?
I'll go. Okay. What I got from Mac is, don't forget to love nature. Don't forget to enjoy her beauty and her love and feel it, and just relax in that, and just take in nature. Don't forget to give yourself some nature love.
Beautiful. And Paula, is it walks for you? Obviously the grandkids, that's a big part of the day, and also the show and everything else that you do. Talk to us about, how do you commune with nature? How do you remember to ground, to receive, and to allow more?
Look at a tree or a beautiful bush, and I celebrate every morning at sunrise hearing birds sing outside. But a beautiful tree, a bush, a sunset, in any of that, I savor. Putting feet in sand, so many little things like that can just be something to enjoy and just take in and feel good.
Beautiful. Carmelle.
So, though you just look back to that word Modi, which is the life force essence of all things. So in my culture, we believe that our tupuna, we're actually related to the trees, and we are related to all things that are physical and non-physical. And so our connection with Papa Tōnuku, or Mother Earth, is a very visceral one, and it's also one I never think of needing to be in nature, because I feel nature within me. Like, I feel trees all the time. And here I feel, I talk about the anger, the ancestral, I feel that in the earthquake, and I think that's why I'm here in Aotearoa, is the earthquake zones. And the reason why we have these cataclysmic earthquakes, and have been through some pretty big ones here, is because those of us who are passing through our anger are pushing it into Papa Tōnuku, and she is reacting. Modi, life force essence. So actually, just a really practical thing, when I feel this surging within me, which is, you know, it still comes up. It's going to be something that I'll live with my entire life, I think. I think about doing a blessing for the ley lines of the earth, this wet rock speeding around in the galaxy. For Papa Tōnuku, I think about putting my energy rather than just letting the, you know, whatever's passing through me in a negative way. I think about actually blessing the deep realms of Papa Tōnuku, the trees, I think about bringing love into the earthquake zones. And I do think that that does help to level them off, because everyone else is pushing their negative energy down. So that's a big thing for me in my morning meditation. I walk through the realms a lot under the earth, and then I get up to the cosmos. But I don't feel like I need to give love to the cosmos above. I think it's just, that's the presence of light. But I definitely feel, for me anyway, that I have to do a lot of loving of our wet ball right down to those crystalline cores. So I, you know, that for me, the grounding is more a metaphysical than a physical, but it's about actually giving something to the waterways, to the oceans, to the creatures, to all the beings, to the ants. I love spiders and cockroaches. I'm the only person that loves cockroaches. I don't like them being squished. You know, that's
I do.
Oh, good. I'm pleased there's another cockroach. Ants.
I think it's two
rats.
versus two on the
rats.
cockroaches, though. So, but yes, all creatures, great and small. I think Mary told me this a long time ago. Try to compassion for all is life, but also in terms of big and little. That doesn't mean bye-bye spider once in a while. So smack, it's not absolute, and I know we should, but I think it was Mac, who we all just talked to a second ago, who said, bye-bye spider. If they trespass tremendously and there's no way to get them outside, it's just one of those situations, then nothing's completely black and white.
Be the duster.
I have to admit, I catch them and put them outside.
Yeah, see, and there's always growth and expansion, even in the topic of smushing bugs. Now, I wanted to mention manifesting, and we're going to talk that topic. How can we bring in more of what we love, or what we don't even know that we love and that we should have more of, because our path is unfolding, ever expanding. But let's start with our famous expert on the topic, because she's got a book called Super Manifestor coming out in November. And that's Manifestors with an ORS, unite.com. I have read her book. Wow, it is very direct, very poignant, lots of steps to take. Can you say something on manifesting that gets the rest of us started talking about the topic? Carmelle.
Two things. First, choice. And I really love what I've heard from Paula and Michelle around choices, because conscious choice is so huge. So that's the first part, because it sets in your the left hemisphere, the knowing part of your brain. But the real key to manifesting I used to say theta brainwaves, and now I'm into delta, and I'm obsessed with the delta brainwaves. And I have my heart rate monitor, not a Fitbit, a cheaper one from Amazon, but I have it because I'm really interested in delta, our dreaming brainwave, and having taught hypnosis and actually knowing that we can reach delta when we're fully sitting up, when we're completely alert. And just by tuning in again through the pause and then slowing that pause and getting down and down and down and down, we choose to allow the God within us, or the goddess within us, to bring more of what we like. But it starts with that choice. We have to enter the feeling state of what we choose, and we have to look from within as opposed to looking out. So often we're saying, I will be happy when I have that, as opposed to, I am happy because I have this. I'm grateful for what I have. And that means that what it is that we seek and us are not separate. But it's the delta brainwaves, and I think that that has really come to me through many other people and working with many other people and seeing the levels of relaxation. So when I talk about delta, we've got brainwaves. I'm talking in beta, and we've got a bit of gamma here, which is that channeling of that super fast, super intelligent. Michael, you're always in gamma pretty much, buzzing around with gamma. Beta, high beta, survival. Michelle, you and I have talked about it. Paula, you probably let it go when you were a baby because you're incredibly wise and graceful, and we're lucky to have this wisdom. The rest of us are coming to it. Alphas, when we're in nature, when we're walking on the grass, when we're with our animals, your beautiful star, Michelle. And then we have theta, which is what we were 0 to 7 in our mother's wombs when everything got formed. And we have delta. And contrary to what everyone thinks, we're always going through those levels. So for me, manifesting is making a choice on what you want and staying focused in that choice and the energy of that, what it is that you seek fulfilled. So the wish fulfilled, that energy, whatever that is, and it changes. Beautiful. But delta, going low and slow and deep when you're awake, especially.
Beautiful. I'm going to buy a little time for Michelle and Paula, because I'm going to have the topical conversation swing to both of you, a little lengthy here for both of you to describe either experiences, your advice to folks, and so on. But I'm going to mention Esther Hicks, or The Alchemist, that's up here, the red book. Beautiful, short little book. But one of them said universal forces are in place to kind of handle everything. And another angel once said, it's not up to you to fix anything. It's really up to you to set your intent, start living out of your heart, and to recognize the difference between what's up here and what's down here. Now, what's up here is going to happen all the time. But can you become more consciously aware of when you're hitting the mark all the time? I'm going to give everybody an exercise right now, and this is an easy one you can do at home. First, you can name whatever color you see in the lighter: gold, white, yellow. And if everyone could just say a word out loud, what color do you see? White, gold, yellow, make up a word. Carmelle?
Oh.
Perfect. And Paula?
Gold.
Beautiful. Michelle?
Gold.
Okay, and then have, if you would, have these three angels come in and help you either see more colors around the light. That's Joy, Charlotte, and Archangel Michael. And just here, you've got this. Like, feel a hand on your back, get a hug. Breathe, breathe, breathe through your mouths, 1 millimeter open. Breathe extra. Here, you've got this. I'm going to put the lighter up, and there's a point to all this. See a little extra angel light around the lighter now? And when I stop this, why don't you guys let yourselves see each other's auras, or just one other panelist? You might see Carmelle's aura around her, or Michael, or Michelle wearing the dark blue and the green. I don't know what color that is. And then in pink is Paula. Carmelle, what extra color are you seeing around the lighter?
It's sort of a pinky gold, and it's a heart around, is what I see.
Perfect. And Paula?
Yellow.
Yay. Michelle?
Orange.
Okay, now, if you wish, and my only tip on this is look at the nose of the person, they'll never know. Two of you are in two different islands in the same country, but poor Paula is all the way in Tacoma, Washington. She's not going to know that you're picking up on her aura. Look at the nose, but go to the forehead if you need more help, and catch the band as who wants to talk about manifesting and your experience with it and how you're opening up more to receive more the second you get out of your own way. Conscious choices, as Carmelle graciously reminded us. Michelle, Paula, one of you, who's volunteering?
Okay, I will. Manifestation is for me trust, allow, and believe. And when I have a goal, I envision it and feel it, what it would be like if it's already accomplished. And then I will trust. I trust to also be open and allow things that I had not even dreamed could happen, manifestations that I may not be aware of that may come. I've always kind of looked at, when I'm working towards something and I want to manifest something, okay, I have this, I have to these bars that I have to, there's a fence. I'm not going to work to tear down that fence. I'm going to jump over that fence. So, and just trust that so I think trust is my personal keyword mantra for manifestation. Yeah.
And before we go to Michelle, I'm going to remind everyone, hey, angels exist and you can meet angels, but you don't have to. You can simply put your trust that you're heard, let them do their jobs. I love saying that. Get out of your own way, get into your heart. Just imagine what it's like to have a bunch of invisible, unconditional love helpers who don't want to interfere, because everything you're getting right now is perfect in life. But if you think you could use the assistance, why not get the assistance? And we're back to let the universe do its job. Put the request out and allow them a little bit of time and space to bring it in the most unusual fashion. Ted, Fred, Sarah, or Jane, you didn't expect them across your path in life. And the next thing you know, voila. Michelle.
I'm just going to basically ride on your coattails and Paula's and Carmelle and say everything of the above. For me, it's when I'm manifesting, it's bringing it in, that it's not happening in the future. I see it in my mind's eye, but I feel it. I feel the joy around it. I feel the excitement around it, and then just letting it go and trusting. If there's one thing I've 150,000% learned in the last 2 years, it's trusting my spirit team. Trust, so that's why I say, going on what Paula said, but it's trusting that it's happening for me at the right time. And teaching myself, especially as a South African, because I come from a country of 59 million people, but in Johannesburg 9 million people, and it's fast-paced. Patience.
That's so true. That's so true. I think that's the bit that I left out, and maybe because that is my biggest challenge, maybe that's why I wrote the book, because it's so hard to allow. And I gotta be honest about that. It is so hard. I think that's why spiritual people don't breathe, and why someone once said to me, you just need to chill the F out. And I was like, what are you talking about? I've got it all written down. It is, how do we allow?
I've got Geronimo, and exactly on the topic of allowing and action, but somehow still letting the universe take care of the action for you. You put your intent out there. Everyone has met Geronimo. This is the older photo of Geronimo, Unconditional Love Spirit Guide. Carmelle, what are you getting from Geronimo on some advice on allowing more?
There's a really interesting segue. Oh, in the top right, I'm looking at it, top left corner. It's not, it's an unintentional reflection, which to me looks like an artery or a vein. And that's about the allowing. It's like a physical representation of the allowing.
Beautiful. Michelle, Geronimo, what's he got for you as a little reminder to, hey, go with the flow, but yes, you can get anything you want to get done, but first be in the heart.
It's so interesting. Carmelle said segue, and at that very moment, I got training wheels, take off the training wheels, like kind of being on a bicycle, and just take off the training wheels and just go with the flow, because we mostly go forwards on our bicycle. I've fallen off a few times, but I get back on the bicycle. That's resilience is the strong word. It's like resilience. Yeah.
And Paula, for you, Geronimo, you've talked to him a bunch.
I just love him. Yeah, he's just saying to me, continue to take those forward steps and allow as you do so. Allow what's going to unfold, but continue those forward steps.
I love it. I'm going to share for 2 seconds. I was a deer in 100 million headlights 12 years ago. I barely did my Plato reading. You can meet Plato back at Middlebury College in Vermont in the late 80s, 1990, whenever that was, political science class. And it's now I'm a deer in 99.9 million headlights. Still, I'll ask the dumbest questions. I've even asked Geronimo a month and a half ago, am I a good manifester? And he just response was, sweet Jesus, Mike, yes. And I've probably asked that question 100 times in the last 8 years. So keep asking all your questions. Don't worry about it, though. At some point, just laugh at yourself, let go, get back to here. And I'm going to give one more quick example. I was just getting started. I hadn't taken any photos of angels, hadn't met any Native American chiefs or Plato, but I am worried about ghosts. I think that's reasonable for anybody out there. They're like, whoa, the universe stuff's alive beyond us. It's not just about the work, the bills, the cousins, the this, the that, the lack of this. My problem is, my situation is. So I'm stuck on ghosts. I didn't even know angels exist yet. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm seeing, you know, all sorts of stuff. I'm going through all this stuff. I'm grabbing every psychic I meet by the collar, lapel, shaking them in Austin, Texas, going, what's happening to me? And so I want to just get a meal and I want to be left alone at this restaurant downtown by the ballerina place, the Opera in Austin, 2nd Street, reminds me of Nantucket. It's called Zach's. It's not there anymore as of a year or two ago, but a Navy fighter pilot type owns the place. I go in to get my burger. It's empty. One guy is at the end of the bar, and in walks a regular human being. I hadn't seen him in 3 months since the last time I was there. We were shocked. We sit at the same bar stools we sat at during South by Southwest earlier in the year, and we're amazed that the timing. And so he's safe, and I can talk to him. That's okay. Bartender's kind of absent, and then there's the Nick Nolte Hispanic figure, immaculate, eating slow like out of a film documentary on how to eat slow. And so it's an angel in human form, a Hispanic Nick Nolte with a cover story. Somehow we got to talking, the three of us, all the way at the end of the bar, eating slow, leather jacket, immaculate, out of Hollywood. And this guy supposedly owns a farm in South Texas and just happens to be passing through. It's Joy, Hollywood wardrobed out in a full human form at the end of the bar. Now, when do we get out of our stool to go talk to a complete stranger in the middle of getting a burger? I babble getting out of my stool, talking to a complete stranger about ghosts. I must have sounded like a lunatic, but I looked into her eyes, even though it's a guy, and I saw galaxies spinning. And from then on, the topic of ghosts just went away. Angels came down to literally, Paula leaps over fences. I had to get picked up and thrown over the fence. The topic of ghosts, do they exist or not? I was stuck on this. And angels came down. Joy, ask her how funny it was for her. It was hilarious, actually, and get a little laugh. But I got tossed over that night, and from then on, I stopped worrying about ghosts. We all need to be picked up and tossed over the fence, or we all need to tap our inner Olympian, which Paula Vail is reminding us to just go ahead and take a shot. You've got that ability to go whoop and leap over. Trust me, there's 10 more fences coming. And the more you learn to just get over the obstacle and what's next, let the universe do its job. Who is this resonating for that can take that conversational ball, rugby, Aussie rules, or NFL? Who wants to run the conversational football down the field further? Carmelle? Michelle.
Okay. So Carmelle and I can relate because we live in not Aussie rules, but we live in the like full on, you know, and that's like when you see some of these guys, they look tiny on the TV screen, but when you see them in real life, they're like, oh my soul. And you know what it is? It's a starting point. It's a starting point of watching that ball getting kicked, you know, on the field, and there's excitement. Everybody's around in the crowd, and there's excitement, and the ball gets kicked and the ball gets pushed and people shove each other, but it's getting up again, getting up again. Again, the word that comes to mind is resilience, getting over those fences. We are so resilient as human beings. Gosh, I don't know about you ladies and yourself, Michael, but I most certainly have met people who have had the most incredible life stories, and they are still here to share it. And that for me is an honoring of the human spirit.
Beautiful. Paula?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I love that. And I loved what you said, Michael, of once you jump over that fence, okay, let's hear. I'm ready. Okay, where am I now? And yeah, we are going to get more fences and more, but really you can take that as I'm afraid of what is ahead, or I'm excited to see it. Where am I going to go? What am I going to experience? That's pretty fun.
And I'm bringing Claire back for you for resilience, an angel who's all about resilience. She happens to be one of our dog's guardian angels here. Could you just get a little reminder from Claire to share with us, Paula, about resilience, how it's already within, just trust, and again, let angels like Claire and your supportive team come in and help you stay the course?
Well, what I'm getting is, yeah, resilience, it's already within, and you are stronger than you realize. You are stronger than you realize. You're love strong.
Love it. Carmelle.
Interested in the ghosts. I really am interested in the ghosts because I don't see them as a bad thing ever.
I had a party. I had a party in my house in Austin in which like 9 different people, 5, 7 different people saw. It was more of a, and forgive me for this, don't get the wrong message on this. It was a shapeshifter. So one person would see an old lady, another person would see an old lady, but another person would see a kid, another person would see something else. It was the same entity. I needed to own the concept that spirituality existed, that different energies exist, negative, medium, positive, angels exist. I hadn't gotten to that point yet, that there was something more beyond human thinking. There was more to living than just a job and like punching your ticket or being at the clock and punching in, punching out. And so this was sort of my Christmas Carol Scrooge moment of just, you got to accept that there's certain forces going on, and then you can get living and discerning, and all the things you've talked about graciously on this panel today. I'm going to have each of you either give us a final reminder, but could you also mention something that they need to check out? You've got, all of you have shows. One of you has a book already out now. And another has a book coming out. But Michelle, could you lead us with a last reminder for everyone on how to keep it real in their life, and also what should they check out at your end?
How to keep it real.
Which is the name of your show.
I know.
Keeping it real.
Thanks for the reminder, just in case I forgot.
Well, for the audience.
You've actually just hit the nail on the head. You know what it's like, and I love how you quote movies and you quote these like and often I think these statements. I'm like, I've got to quote that. I've got to remember that. But you hit the ball at the park, Mike. That's one of yours, hey? It's about exactly that. It's laughing, as we all just burst out into laughter. Laugh more. Find the learning for one of the learnings for me is like, my husband can't be everything to me. A friend can't be everything to me. It's like having these moments of just absolute beautiful human beings. And I believe we all are seeking our tribes, but everybody is a part of our tribe. And the more we find those people that can be in our world, that pass through our world, kind of like that shapeshifter you were talking about. We all shapeshift, we all morph into different ways of being, and who I am here is not who I'm going to be in 1 year's time or 3 years' time, because I'm going to be different. I know my cells are upgrading as I'm talking right now. We are such walking miracles, So thank you to all of you for being here.
And what's one thing the audience can check out that you'd be excited to have them, they hit your website?
Okay. Thank you for that reminder. I have the Council of 8, who are angelic beings of light that I channel, and every Monday morning New Zealand time, 8 a.m. New Zealand time, which would be the day before on Sunday in Europe and the States, and it's the community that we're bringing together, and people allow vulnerability, past lives are shared. And I tone, I have shamanic energy that comes through, but they come and they give guidance, and they help humans kind of just displace the fear, just get rid of the fear, and bring us together in love and prayer. And like, they often use these hands, but they show us that we're all strong in our connection, and they teach empowerment, and that's what I love, and they plant seeds. So if any of you want to join, please go to my website, www.michellecarpenter.co.nz or NZ, I think you say in the States. And please go sign up for the community gatherings. They really are wholesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And Paula Vail, you've got Elevating Your Life, 400 plus episodes, KMET, Southern Market of California, but also now on TV. And you've got your Patreon community as well, and many other things. Paula, what would you like to give us a last bit of advice or sageness? Let's make up a word. Plus, what can people check out?
Oh, well, I guess we'll just go with the name of my show, Elevating Your Life. And we're all connected. We're all energetically connected, and we all can every day elevate our life. like Michelle said, laughter, dancing. I mean, the nature that we talked about. So many things can guide us and elevate in our life. We have that. And gratitude. This has been a fantastic talk. I've enjoyed everyone so much, so many great topics. My website is wellnessinspired.com, and you can find the link for my television show, radio show, and then my book. And then just in any questions or anytime anyone wants to contact me, you can do it through my show, or if you want to be a guest on my show. I just want to be a positive energy in the world, and together we can all do that. Thank you.
Yay. I love that. Carmelle Riley in New Zealand, Northern Ireland, the west of Auckland. You've got Super Manifestor, your long time in coming book. That's amazing. I've read this. It reads well. It pushes us, and it gives us exercises to do to challenge us so that we know what we want to ask for. But what's your reminder for us all? I mean, we can't have everything figured out. None of us do. And I think that's almost a fact. What do we need to know, Carmelle?
So I chose to be part of this show today because, Michael, I absolutely love you. And it has been an absolute blessing to be with you, Paula, and you, Michelle. And I know that out in the audience that there'll be something that is of benefit to people, whether it was a random story or a reminder to grace. But I think that that's where, for me, it is understanding the power of our choices while we're in this physical body. And that is the choice to be more. That's a choice to be our universal, our unlimited selves that have the power to create worlds. And I feel like we have created some worlds here and possibly flown over some fiery caverns, and that is it's the choice. None of this matters except for our choice to be alive, and our choice to be love, and our choice to be light. And so from my heart right in this moment, I just want to say thank you, Mauri Ora.
Thank you. And Minahui, if I said that correctly. So one lightning round here with Joy, a lightning bolt of love. And just to mention Carmelle's website, Manifestors with an ORS at the end, unite.com. You can find all the info there. Here's Joy. Michelle, can you just do one last little bit from Joy, the angel, who's the emotion Joy? She's the ambassador communicator. If you have to play pickleball, tennis, go for a run, or just garden tomorrow, ask Joy to be in your muscles. This is something we don't really consider, is that if you're a ball of light, there are no limits in life. What are you willing to allow for is my final message. So why not ask for what you can't even grasp? Take a load off on the details, the words. Just be like, hey, sock it to me, make it nice. I'll take my sundae with 2 cherries on top, please, and no calories. Okay, so Michelle, could you ask Joy for some last inspiration, plus get some love washed over you, the property, and everything, plus your pooch, and so that you don't feel like you just did a long show. Thank you for being on today. My thanks to you. But have Joy wash you. If you want to put your hand up, get it one way, get a whoosh down your back, catch an ocean smell, juggle 19 balls at once. Your ego psyche for the person watching can only block 1 or 2 of those balls. So go big or go home. But all of us are already at home, almost.
Just healing on my knees. I started CrossFit last week. That was funny, and to me, and I just asked her to heal my knees and to bring more love into this world, because I just feel it with every cell of my being that we are here to show up in our love, and the honoring of that is joyful in itself.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle. To Paula, I'm bringing you joy, but to Michelle, if you want to look on your own time right now, you can just put your hand up, see more pink light or extra light around you, pick an object, you probably have a heart within your vision. We can see all your hearts behind you. We love that. Paula, you've got joy. Do whatever you'd like with joy. I think that's a good mantra.
Yeah, I'm seeing her just expand, and I'm getting the message, joy expands. Let it expand inside you and around you. Let joy expand.
Oh, and she's a super big angel. So we'll try one more thing just in a second, if I can even remember. Carmelle, joy to you.
Joy is here. Joy is here. Nothing more to say.
Can we all four, yes, four, with two hands each, put our hands up? Only light and love. Our thinking is parked aside. We'll let Joy and Michael. But if you want to feel the vibe across the world and across islands. And Michelle, can you just describe what you're feeling right now? Breathe through your mouth a little, and forgive me for saying that out loud. I'm so sorry. Breathe, 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 and you've got it.
I was just thinking about Maui, and just we're all holding Maui right now. At the same time, getting a vision of Mother Earth, and just tingling, lots of tingling, and lots of like lanterns, you know, like millions and millions of lanterns, like all these lights.
MauiFoodBank.com, I think it is. They need donations. Cash is great. People need to eat. It's a fantastic charity. Paula, what are you feeling right now on your palms?
Feeling that love and that caring and that beautiful energy just encompassing the whole world, including Maui, and just filling it with love and caring and compassion.
And Carmelle.
Gotta bring in the cosmos. Gotta bring in some light that always surrounds us and comes through wherever it's needed to go.
And I'm going to do one final act, and that's just Joy and Min, who's professorial light waves of energy and water, Pacific Princess. I'm going to blow through the mic, and if you just catch a little oceany vibe on your nose, your face, or a wind in the room, whatever angels will bring you, may it be a blessing whatever way is needed in any direction. And did you all get that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Carmelle. You are fantastic. Maybe we'll be lucky to do this again before the end of the year. Next year, we'll have to just let the universe guide us on that one.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for having us here. It's been beautiful.
Wonderful host.
Absolutely. What a beautiful way to start a Monday morning. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you all. Much appreciated. This has been Mind, Body, Spirit panel number 3 with Carmelle Riley in New Zealand, Northern Island, Michelle Carpenter, Southern Island, but Northern Tip, Nelson, and Paula Vail in Tacoma, Washington. All show hosts, all with amazingness to them. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
Michael, Mori ora, everyone.